With the passage of the Superhuman Registration Act earlier this week, superheroes around the country are being forced to choose a side. Do they register with the government to uphold the law, or become part of an underground resistance movement? So far...
Can you believe this is really going down? The act kicks in at midnight, but word is S.H.I.E.L.D's gonna be here sooner than that, taking signatures. Or prisoners. I want to talk to Cage about it, but he's too busy arguing with Mr. Fantastic over there. Maybe you can break into their little powwow and get some sense out of them.
Breaking into a little powwow between the stretchy man and the guy that cannot be broken. It seems like an argument nobody's going to win. Mr. Fantastic will bend and Luke Cage can't be broken. That's just fantastic, just fantastic. Looks like Luke Cage has left our little party then. Which is fair enough, I guess. It's fair enough. But speaking of our little party, we need to switch our little party up a little bit, because obviously we have some more special conversations that can be undertaken, and some people we can talk to. So we need to get the Invisible Woman. And I think things taking a bit more of a serious turn. Let's switch her back into her normal outfit. And we also need the Human Torch. And as you can see there, unavailable is Mr. Fantastic, so's Luke Cage, Captain America, and Iron Man, because obviously they're like a pivotal part of this story. So it'd be a bit silly if you had Captain America on your team and then suddenly chose to go Pro-Registration. Wouldn't quite make sense. Especially since he's underground right now, it would be a bit odd if he was just running around Stark Tower. Let's switch old Johnny back to his normal costume as well. Yeah, but I suppose this is the point in the game where we have to make a decision. You know, we're going to go pro-registration, we're going to go anti-registration.
The acting commander will be here any minute. Look sharp.
Now, I personally prefer.
The commander will be here any minute. Look sharp.
I know, I heard you the first time. Shut up!
Understand your skepticism, Luke, but you have to believe me. I've crunched the numbers, and we absolutely can't rebel against the government on this. If we do, the consequences...
Can't be any worse than burning the Constitution.
You're exaggerating. This is a temporary measure. Once things settle down...
I ain't buying it, Reed. And I can't believe somebody as brainy as you would.
Oh, hello. Good timing. Perhaps you can talk some sense into Mr. Cage here. He and Iron Fist seem determined to get arrested.
He's the one who needs a reality check. But good luck getting anywhere with that.
Warning. Security upgrades are complete. As of midnight tonight, any superhuman personnel listed as unregistered...
Well, this is awkward. You got Invisible Woman and Johnny Storm, part of the Fantastic Four, and then you got Wolverine and Miss Marvel, who's just with the Defenders and Luke Cage. So yeah, this could get quite awkward. This could get very awkward. But yeah, this is I personally am more of an anti-registration side. I sided more with the anti-registration, but then at the same time, you can see the points of both parties. So do I. At least you're not telling me that the director will be here soon again. Oh god, he's going to keep telling me that as well, isn't he? What is with those two? They're like desperate for attention. But yeah, you can see both sides of the story, so... Either side you pick isn't bad, but then I suppose both sides ended up becoming the thing they thought their side was trying to defend against, so... It's kind of cool. It's why I love the Civil War so much. In the Marvel Universe, of course.
You have reached the voice mailbox of...
Reed Richards.
Please leave your message at the tone.
Yeah, hey Reed, this is Ben. Look, I can't do this. Lord knows I've followed you into some pretty crazy places over the years, but somehow this is one place I can't go. I've been thinking about it for a long time. Registration's wrong, and I won't support a law I don't believe in, but I'm still a patriot. I ain't gonna fight my own government, so the way I see it, that leaves me only one choice. I'm out. Going underground till this thing blows over. Don't bother trying to find me.
I love that little voicemail there from the Thing. And I think the Fantastic Four was one of the groups that definitely signified like what happened with the Civil War, because I mean if you're watching this game you have to have read the comics, because I don't want to give anything away, but I can't play this game and not talk about the Civil War story arc. So I mean you got Ben, who couldn't break the law but also didn't want to like stand against his friends, so he just left. Reed that was pro-registration, Sue and Johnny that eventually went anti, so they got split up into like 3 different factions. It was just absolutely fantastic. It's just such a great comic book event.
Are you sure you can get us to Cap without leading them right to him?
Got it covered. You just stick with me.
But what about the rest? How can we convince...
They're gonna have to make their own choice. Stark, Richards, and Songbird are obviously a lost cause. But maybe. Well, speak of the devil. So you folks made up your minds yet? From what I hear, they ain't gonna give you much more time to sit on the fence.
Why should we be willing to become criminals?
I ain't no government puppet, and I assume you feel the same way. There are worse things you could do than risk jail time to do the right thing.
Prepare to receive inbound shield contingent.
Is it really the right thing to beat up government employees?
If they're enforcing unconstitutional laws and hunting you down like a dog, hell yeah.
Luke Cage just has a way of getting you all rolled up. I'm just like, yeah, Luke! He could go tell me to kill my grandmother and I'll be like, yeah, for you, Luke, anything. He's just got such a way of moving a crowd. How long do you think a resistant movement can last?
Cap in charge, as long as it takes.
That's simple, huh?
Simple, yeah. Easy, no. But I know Cap. He'll get us through. Look, you got what you need to know. I got stuff to talk over with these guys.
And I suppose while we're actually on the topic of like choosing a side, I suppose there's one thing I was going to say, because I said just now that Sue and Johnny went anti-reg, whereas Mr. Fantastic went pro, but they didn't. They actually went pro-registration and then switched sides like Spider-Man did. And then you got others like Daredevil that were just anti-reg, and like Luke Cage that were just anti-reg from the start, and Mr. Fantastic and Iron Man that have always been anti-reg. But there's one cool thing I saw, that if you go onto the stats, and because in this you got 3 heroes that are like pro-reg or anti-reg all the time. Captain America, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist always anti-reg. You can't switch sides. And Iron Man, Luke Cage, and Songbird are always pro. You can't switch sides. The one good thing... Oh, mate, it might actually be on stats. Maybe it's not on stats. Maybe you have to go to the main menu to look at it. I think it's on the... must be on... I think it's on one of these review terminals actually around here. I'll try and find it. But on one of these review terminals, you can click on each character and it gives a description why they would be pro or why they would be anti. So for all the heroes that you can use as part of your team, it gives an excuse to us, even though in the comics they might have been anti or pro, it gives them a reason why they could be on the other side. So whoever you choose for whatever side, it's not like, oh, you know, in the comics they're on this side and in the comics they're on pro and the comics they're on anti, because they've got a good excuse to be either side. So yeah, I think it was definitely interesting. If I find the terminal, I'll show you.
With the Superhuman Registration Act looking likely to pass within the week, we recently sat down with one of its most surprising critics, Captain America.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
Our pleasure. Captain, in the wake of the Stamford tragedy, the public overwhelmingly favors mandatory registration for all superhumans. Can millions of Americans be wrong?
Unfortunately, they can, Brian. Our country's history is littered with wrongs that most Americans approved of at the time. Slavery, the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II, the McCarthy hearings.
But how do you deal with it, knowing that nearly everyone is against you on this?
I think of what Mark Twain wrote on the subject. If you alone of all the nation shall decide one way, and that way be the right way according to your convictions, you have done your duty by yourself and by your country.
An inspiring quote.
Absolutely. When the mob and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and tell the whole world, no, you move.
Hearing Captain America just like recite that quote just made me think of the fact that everyone always quotes like things people have said in the past, yet nobody ever quotes anything new. It's just like nobody ever says something new. I can't see someone in 20 years quoting something that somebody in 2014 said, unless it's one of those silly Facebook pictures with text written over it. But oh dear, Spider-Woman, what's up?
Hey, good times, huh?
I can't believe it's going down like this.
I can. The government's always wanted to take us down a peg. Now they see their chance. But Cap showed us what we need to do.
You're sounding paranoid, Sweets.
And you sound naive.
Hey, I didn't say I didn't agree with you. I just said you're sounding paranoid. Take it down a peg. What now? Cap gonna start some kind of resistant movement?
Between you and me, I hope so. I have no intention of registering. And we're gonna need a leader.
Rebellion, huh? People will die. You ready for that?
People have died. Nothing can change that. But we can't let it keep us from doing what we know is right. Look, personal freedom is what Cap's fighting for. This is your choice to make. I know which way I'm going. Hopefully you do too.
Yeah, well, I know which way I want to go, but I'm doing the pro. I really want to do the anti-reg as well. Maybe once this is all said and done, I might go through again and do an anti-reg walkthrough. Who knows? Who knows? Oh god, they're at it again! Don't be starting all that all over again.
Hey, you come to a decision yet?
I'm surprised none of the X-Men have any special conversations with Bishop. You thought they would, really, but Stanford was bad, all right. But is it really? But is this really worth the answer? Is this really the answer?
For now, yeah, it is. Stanford would never have happened if superheroes had proper oversight.
Yeah, red tape and me don't mix so well.
We don't let cops run around shooting whoever they want. If somebody wants the authority to take on bad guys, they need to answer to somebody.
See, and that's the funny thing. Even though I'm more on the anti-reg stance, I do see the point of the pro-registration. I understand where they were coming from, and that's why neither side was really wrong. I don't see S.H.I.E.L.D. looking too sad about being asked to rein us in.
No one's got a better reason to be paranoid than I do. And I'm telling you, this is the way it's gotta go.
Nitro could have pulled this with anyone, including you or me.
Let's not start playing what if. What happened, happened. All we can do now is try to make sure it doesn't happen again. Look, I can't make the decision for you. Just remember, we're supposed to protect people. Signing up for training and accountability is the best way to do that.
Although I think the point Wolverine was just trying to make then was even if we got signed up and deputized with the government and all that sort of stuff, Nitro still would have exploded, whether we had proper help from the government or not.
Did you miss me?
Citing his rescue by a team of superheroes.
And so, in a worst-case scenario, we'd find ourselves in the equivalent of a superpowered civil war.
Heroes so busy fighting each other, the criminals get a free pass.
Exactly. That's where you and the Thunderbolts would come in, Melissa. We need you to help S.H.I.E.L.D. keep crime under control while we focus on... Oh, hello again. Hello, Susan. I'm glad to see you're not going off half-cocked like Luke, Danny, and Eli over there seem to be. We need cooler heads to prevail at a time like this.
Doesn't seeing Captain America reject the SRA make you think it might be wrong?
There's morality and there's practicality. I may have personal issues with the act, but I also have hard evidence that if we rebel against it, the entire world's future will be imperiled. So, there's really only one sane choice here.
And my screen just stretched so I can't see any of these options that went at the bottom. The screen just completely stretched out, so all I can see is a close-up of Susan's breasts, which on a normal day would be fine, but I need to see the answers here. The lesser of two evils is still evil.
I'm not saying the SRA is evil, but going down a path we know leads to disaster would certainly be irresponsible and foolish.
What will happen to those who defy the Registration Act?
I'm not sure that's been determined. Incarceration, most likely. Those who violently resist might accidentally be harmed.
If you weren't my husband, I might have actually deemed that a threat.
Of course it isn't, Sue. But anyone who openly resists law enforcement should know the risk they're taking. Now please, I'm surprised to see you're even considering joining those rebels. Stay with us. I need you.
Man, Reed, the way you said that was kind of cold, I gotta admit. You said the words, but I didn't feel your heart was in them. Showing off there. I think the conversation's pretty much the same, but let's see what he has to say to Johnny.
Hello, Johnny. I'm glad to see you're not going off half-cocked like Luke, Danny, and Eli over there seem to be.
Yeah, we've already heard you say this. Doesn't seeing Captain America reject the SIA make you think this whole thing might be a little nuts?
There's morality and there's practicality. I may have personal issues with the act, but I...
Yeah, we've already heard you say that as well. I'm looking for something different here. If I were Sue, I'd probably say something like, sanity is relative. And that actually was the answer I was going to pick with Sue as well, if I didn't pick the aggressive one.
Well then, as relatives, shouldn't we be on the same side?
Yeah, I see your point. Relatives by law, Reed. Just remember that. Well, not everyone's going to go along with this thing, Reed. Well, what's going to happen then?
I'm not sure that's been determined. Incarceration, most likely. Those who violently resist might accidentally be harmed.
Sign up and go to jail, huh? That's how it's going to be.
I'm not in charge of that, of course, but that's what I'm hearing. Not a pleasant thought. I wish I could spend more time with you, but unfortunately, there's a lot to do. Talk to you soon.
Well, because they were both special conversations, you can have a normal conversation as well, but it's going to be pretty much the same thing. So I think with that being said, I think we can leave Reed now. We could just keep talking to him over and over again and try and boost our offensive or defensive or whatever, but I don't think you guys really want to sit through that.
Reed, I'm trying, but I just can't follow these equations.
I'd be surprised if you could, Tony. They're a new form of science I invented, actually. A way to predict future trends by mathematically modeling past events.
Really? How reliable?
Very. I've been using it to predict general trends for years.
And what are they showing you now?
A series of societal earthquakes, conflicts beyond anything that's ever happened. The death of billions.
My God.
I ran the numbers again and again. I found no force that could be applied anywhere to make a better outcome until...
The Registration Act.
Yes. That's the first part. Other actions will be necessary, in the right order, at the right times.
Actions that will turn us against our friends. Change everything we know.
I'm well aware of that, Tony. But the alternatives are much, much worse.
Whoever said saving the world would be easy, huh? All right, Reed. Walk me through the numbers. And take it slow.
I don't think Reed Richards and science and slow are three things that necessarily go together. But before I move on, there was one thing I was Yeah, well, you stand there and don't arrest us then. That sounds like a good plan to me. There was one thing I was going to say before I forget, and that was in the beginning of that last mission, the one in DC. You had Iron Man going to talk at that hearing, sort of like talking to the law, talking to the officials, and then Cap was rallying the crowd, getting the public on his side. And that's where like Iron Man and Cap, when they work together, they're a force to be reckoned with, because they're like two sides of the same coin. Like they both fight for the same thing, but they have different methods of going about it. But then that's why when they get split apart and they end up going against each other, that's why it's definitely bad when they go up against each other, because then their morals and their opinions are 100% different. Well, looks like I've got to go up to the terminal up here first. But, having chatted to both sides, it is time for us to make our decision. Superhuman Registration Act. When you meet with Maria Hill, your actions will determine your allegiance. Your choice will determine the missions you take on and change the boosts and abilities you earn. Some heroes have already chosen this side. The rest of your team will follow your choice. You may wish to save your game now. And of course you got Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic Sonberg on the registered side, and Captain America, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist on the rebel side. So whatever side you pick, the other three characters will not be available. But everyone else on your roster will be. So when
Superhumans, the Registration Act is in effect. You are now required to meet with Commander Hill and register your identity with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Fair enough. Yeah, so when it says like the rest of your team will follow, it's not just talking about the four that are in your party. So don't think you're going to be stuck with these four for the rest of the game. It's basically saying everyone you see there right now in front of you, all of them will be available, barring the three that were on that screen just now on the side that you don't choose. So basically you're only ever going to be losing out for three characters, and it's not for the whole game, so Don't be worrying, but with that said and done, looks like we've got time. We're going to go down and talk to Maria Hill. Although, in fact, actually, before I did that, there was that one thing I was going to quickly try and show you, wasn't I? Although it looks like I can't be doing it now. It looks like they've closed off all the terminals. I'll do it in a bit. We've got more pressing matters right now.